Hi, and welcome to Module 4. By now you have completed your animated GIF as well as your site plan, and I wanted to talk about those assignments just a little bit before we enter into Dreamweaver and Module 4. So I really liked seeing all the animated GIFs that have come in, and really the advantage of the animated GIF, I see it kind of as the helicopter of animations in that you don't need the runway to take off. It's just quick takeoff time without the buffering, without the large file size of video, but you get the advantages of video with that quick load time. You get to have a series of frames within a single image. You can tell a story in your series. You can illustrate a tutorial. I just wanted to comment on some of the animated GIFs that y'all turned in last week, and there were some really great animations, so I just wanted to point them out and just talk about some possibilities as you're thinking about how you may want to use the animation on your final sites in Module 9. I wanted to start by looking at some of the ways that you can incorporate movement into your animated GIFs, and Danielle did that here with the bouncing smiley face. And I thought it was a very simple but fun way to animate something on a website. And she said this could be on a children's theme website, just something that is a little livelier than a static image, and just create some movement into a website. And so there are a lot of different ways that she could use this, either in the banner or to incorporate it as part of a theme in the website. And also I wanted to look at some other themes and then we can look at Joanna's cartoon illustration, her T-Cat GIF here, and this is another fun way where she's really using her talent of illustration and to use it in a way that's animated and having the cat jump into the teacup there. And that's another fun kind of entry point into a website. She could use it as a mascot. Then we also have a theme of time, where with the animation you can really capture a time lapse or images that are happening across a time span. And Patrick did a good job of showing that through his selfies. And I've seen something like this with, doing this over years. And so that's something you could really go off of this and do all kinds of things. But and you can adjust, the time lapse too, and make them longer or shorter. And so this was also a really interesting take on how you can show a progression of time with the animated GIF. Dylan also showed multiple images in one image, and that's another advantage of the animated GIFs, where you can really capture a series of images in one frame. And so you can see, and this is a good way where he could showcase a product. This would be good for merchandising, and you can show multiple images in a single image here with the different cameras. And then we can also take a look at some interesting things like Olivia did with her splash page, and just creating this rotating circles on the outside of this image here as an entry point to her site. And then we can look at Nicholas and how Nicholas has some web experience already, and he already has this website, and he had the still image of the flames in the fire. And I thought this was just the perfect way to animate that in a really subtle way, but it just brings another layer to the website here in creating just the feeling of the warmth of that fire and the heat from the flames, and just creating some movement around the flames there. So that was a really nice solution that Nicholas incorporated into his site in the header area. And then also just wanted to take a look back at Michael's animation and he did a real nice job of keeping his frame still, and that's something I had to learn and still working on that, but that's where a tripod really comes in handy, or just keeping your camera in the same position as you photograph the different images. And you could also just create your own tripod if you don't have one, by just putting your smartphone on a surface, or even putting a rubber band around a ball jar. I've tried that and that works pretty well too. So there's different ways around just keeping the frame still. So, and that's a really good example there with the bouncy ball of how he did that. Quinn showed the bicycle, mountain bike here, and showed the progression of the movement. And so that's another way that you could use in animation for action shots in a series of shots like that. And a lot of y'all talked about how quick and efficient the animated GIFs are, that they don't require much space. It's a quick load time, so that's a huge advantage, where you get the advantage of video, but you don't have that big load time and the spacing issue with these animations. I also want to talk about the logo, and really to go back to homework 1 on those image formats. When you upload your logo, remember that you want it to be web ready in a web format. So even if you design it, let's say in Illustrator, and it's a vector graphic, you can save it as an SVG, a scalable vector graphic, but you probably want to retain the original Illustrator file or whatever program you used to create it in, then also save it as a web format. So have several different versions. You may have a JPEG version as well as the Illustrator version or Photoshop version with layers, and then save it at a lower resolution for web at PNG or JPEG format. Just keeping in mind what size you might want to use it on one of your final sites. And you may want to have a couple of different sizes for your website. In one page it may be used larger, and another it may be used at a smaller size. So just go back and make sure that they're saved in the appropriate web format. Think about the file size, the load time as well. Think about color and how you want to use that in your logo. I do want you to have a full color logo, and then you can modify the color later on when we think about responsive sites. You are only required to have a logo for your professional site in Module 9 in our final project. So just keep in mind that you will be turning in 3 final sites: your ePortfolio, a professional site that you'll create with a partner or partners, and then a responsive site, which will be a mobile-friendly site that's a redesign of one of your other final sites. So now we're going to move on to Module 4, and you go to the Start Here page. I'm recording our new introduction video, and then you've got 2 weeks to hang out here, and this is the module where we really get into Dreamweaver, and you actually start to build your site here, and so you get some experience in how to build your web pages in Dreamweaver. So first you want to watch the introduction video, and then watch the Dreamweaver user interface. This was recorded in a previous version of Dreamweaver, but it's still the same interface, so you can go ahead and watch that just to familiarize yourself with Dreamweaver. Make sure you read the Psychology of Web Design. You only have to read chapters 11 and 14. Then watch the Web Design Best Practices and Sites video. That's all the way down here, and that's one I need to update as well, but the information is still relevant. And then participate in the discussion for best sites, and then you can look at the assignment sheet there. Make sure, and there's a web design, the video is also linked here on the assignment sheet. And then make sure that you cite your sources and choose a favorite site and then a poorly designed site, and tell us why it's well designed or poorly designed. And then include either screenshots or links to those websites. So then after you participate in that discussion forum, back to Module 4, then you're going to do homework 5. So going back to the Start Here page, you will want to watch the Bistro site videos, and those go along with the Against the Clock textbook. So these videos are video tutorials to walk you through how to do those assignments. You do not have to turn in the Kinetic Bistro site files. That's just for you to get practice and to learn how to link pages to a site. And then what you'll actually turn in is homework 5, the rentals homework, and those files you will download from Against the Clock. So what you turn in is the rentals homework, and there's a video in the homework 5 and 6 video that shows you what you need to do and some tips on that. Then for week 2, watch the Websites 101 slides that are linked here, and you can also download those. And then do homework 6. So homework 6 is where you will actually need to link or connect to the ASU server and create 2 web pages that you're going to upload to the ASU server. And I've updated the web publishing document that you can follow along, and I've also explained how to do that in the homework 5, homework 6 video. So make sure that you watch those, then complete quiz 2 and the midterm survey for 2 points for those 2. And the survey is just a quick survey, just kind of reevaluate. I know some of your schedules may have changed to see if there's a need for more Zoom meetings. And then just get your site connected to the ASU server by October 9th, and that's when homework 6 is due. So then you can go ahead and begin. At the end of this module, you will have a website live on the ASU app server.